Am I the asshole for telling a woman to charge a guy more at a yard sale? I was shopping around our city's yard sales yesterday and stopped to look through some clothes. While I was looking, a guy walked up and asked the old lady running the sale if she had anything golf-related. My ears perked up because I have just recently gotten into golf. The lady said she had her late husband's clubs but didn't know what they would be worth, so she dragged them out to show the guy. It was obvious the guy knew golf by the way he took a couple practice swings, and you could tell by his car and clothing he appeared to be well off. As he looked around the bag, the lady was telling him that her husband had just passed and that she didn't know if the clubs were worth anything. He said they weren't that great and offered $200 for everything. She seemed hesitant and said she didn't know, and he just kind of talked over her and said, "Here, I'll go grab the money," and walked towards his car. I walked over to see what was in the bag, and for anyone who knows golf, I'll throw this out there. Almost new GT3 driver and 3-wood. Gently used Mizuno irons. Nice Titleist wedges. A very nice looking Scotty putter. Great condition Titleist cart bag. This stuff combined would be a steal at $1K. Obviously this lady's late husband had spent a good penny on the clubs, and I felt bad for her, so I told her she should pass on that guy's offer and have someone at a local courses pro shop help her price the stuff out to sell if she wanted. She seemed totally shocked when I told her the driver and 3-wood were probably worth $800 alone. When the guy came back, he was glaring at me, and when he tried to hand the lady the cash, she said no thanks, and that she was going to get the stuff appraised. He got upset and told her she can't back out of a deal, so I chimed in that they didn't really make a deal. He got pissed at me and told me I needed to mind my business. The lady then told him she wasn't interested again and to please leave. He walked to the ED of the driveway and just stood there angry like my toddler would. Before he walked away, he called me an asshole and stomped off. The whole thing was more funny than anything to me. I was telling this story to my coworkers today, and they were all dogging on me, saying I should have kept my mouth shut and let the guy get the good deal, but it felt wrong letting him rip her off. So am I the asshole here? I was telling this story to my coworkers today, and they were all dogging on me, saying I should have kept my mouth shut and let the guy get the good deal. You work with people who would support a guy ripping off a widow? Who expressed disappointment that you didn't let it happen? Why do you ever speak to these people? Are these even people? Fare the love, oh fuck. Let me tell you something. Her husband literally torpedoed back to this world through you to stop that shit from happening. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She didn't have the clubs sitting out for sale with a $200 price tag. I think that would have been different. She wasn't ready to sell them because she didn't know what they were worth, and he set the price. It doesn't sound like she even agreed to it. Good for you, Opie. Not the asshole. Rich dude had the money. Just didn't want to spend it, and happy to screw a recently bereaved woman to do it. You just called out basic indecency. I'm sure he'll get other opportunities to be a dick, and will take advantage of them. Not the asshole. Anyone in the process of scamming a little old lady deserves to be interfered with. Not the asshole. She was a vulnerable older lady being pushed into an unfavorable and unfair sale amount. The guy was pissed you didn't allow him to take advantage of her. Sometimes it's okay to be a Butinsky. This was one of those times, and you're not the asshole. Am I the asshole for calling my mom an idiot after she ignored my advice about co-signing a loan? Back in 2022, my uncle, who was 36 at the time, asked my mom, who was 50, to co-sign a loan for a truck. My mom agreed because he told her he was going to use it for his business as a subcontractor. I overheard my mom discussing this with my dad, who was 49 when he passed away. My dad said it was not a good idea, but my mom always made the final decision. He gave up and did not argue. I joined in and told her there was a good reason why the bank did not want to give him a loan on that truck, and that she shouldn't be risking her nearly perfect credit score. My mom argued that he was using it to start his business and already had multiple contracts lined up, which she claimed to have seen. I told her he did not need a brand new F-250 Lariat Super Crew, that there were plenty of reasonably priced used F-250 XLs at half the cost. She replied that I did not know what I was talking about, that he was in construction and knew the truck he needed, and that I was just a kid with no life experience. She told me to leave her alone because I was annoying. At the time I was 23 and also working in the trades. Framers don't need a Super Duty truck, let alone a luxury trim. I tried convincing her, but she gave me the silent treatment and acted like I was being manipulative. I did some side work at his site, repairing his GC semi-truck. Literally every material is hauled through other subs or by the GC himself. He could have gotten a cheap 1/2 truck, and it would be more than enough. Now I am 26. My dad died 2 years ago, and my mom only has one income and still has $300,000 on the mortgage. She is already struggling financially. She called me last week and asked me to help manage her finances. She showed me a letter from the bank stating that they will repossess my uncle's truck unless the balance is paid. It turns out my uncle does not know how to manage a business. He has not had a single contract in months and is terrible with money. He used to gamble away his entire paychecks and spend on designer clothes. None of this surprised me. I told my mom there was nothing I could do. I reminded her that I begged her not to go through with this more than 3 years ago, and she ignored me because I was just a kid. I told her I was not going to waste my time helping idiots who don't want to be helped, and I am sorry. So am I the asshole for how I responded? Not the asshole play stupid games, win stupid prizes. She took the risk and didn't listen to the advice of her 2 closest family members. Everything went poorly, and now she's wanting to listen. She should go to a financial advisor. At least she might listen to them first time round. Your mum was very foolish. You're being an asshole to kick her while she's struggling. You could have told her to let the uncle's truck be repossessed, then help her with the rest. ETA Opie is not the asshole for choosing not to give his mother any money. I interpreted his mother's request for help managing her money as a request for advice, not for money. One income, $300K mortgage, bank wants the truck single/widowed mom asks for help. Did I get it right? Esh. Mom for not listening, belittling your advice. You for kicking her when she's down. My suggestion. 1. Repo truck. Take FICO hit for repossession while being upside down. 2. Write down all debts. Mortgage, whatever she will owe on truck after repo, credit cards. 3. Does she need to file for bankruptcy or downsize? 4. Do not lend her anything. Ta. The correct response is, I'm just a kid, remember? Kids don't have that kind of money. Your mother is not the only idiot in this story. Your mother is in a financial mess, and that's partly because she and your dad didn't get proper insurance on the house to cover the survivor in case of death. Also, why didn't your parents have life insurance policies? Your father was also an idiot. Having co-signed for that stupid loan is only part of her problem. She needs to downsize her house and let the bank go ahead and repossess the truck. You could sit down and talk her through this. Perhaps you aren't a complete asshole here, but be a bit nicer to your mother. Probably could have worded it nicer. Do you know if the loan is underwater, or will selling the car pay the rest of what's owed? If it's not underwater, it would be best for her to just let them repossess the truck. Am I the asshole for throwing my nephew out of a family party? For some context, me, I'm 53, and my family live in the South, specifically Charleston, South Carolina. A year back my son Jake, I'm 20 now, started attending the University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks, and during his freshman year he met a lovely girl named Monique, also 20 years old. Monique is, as her name suggests, African American, while our family is Caucasian, but neither me nor anyone else in my immediate family has had any issue with that. She's sweet, beautiful, and overall an incredible young woman, and we all accepted her with open arms from the first time we met her. A week ago, my wife and I held a party at our home, and Jake and Monique both made the trip from college to attend. The party was going well until I noticed Jake and Monique were alone, and Monique was crying. I asked what had happened, and Monique told me that Jake's cousin Greg, M17, had told him that he shouldn't slum it, and called Monique a ghetto whore, among other racist remarks. I went to find Greg, and he admitted to this, saying that he was just looking out for my cousin. At this point, I told him to leave, and he and his parents left, but his parents have been on me as of late for blowing things out of proportion. Edit. A lot of you are rightfully pointing out a bias had where I assumed Monique was a predominantly African American name. I didn't know that it's a common French name as well, and associated the name with black people since all the Moniques I personally know have been black. I didn't mean anything by this, but in retrospect I can see how that makes me sound bad, so I'll try and do better from here on out. What the hell does Monique, as her name suggests, is African American mean? Jesus. Not the asshole. You address bigotry by setting boundaries and consequences. Your home. Your rules. Good job addressing it properly. You heard about it. You confirmed it to be fact. You enforced the consequences. Not surprised his parents were okay with it. You know who he learned it from. Edit to add, but your comment about her name though. Might want to work on your own internalized racism. Monique is French. Monique is, as her name suggests, African American. If anything, the name Monique suggests French, not black. Be careful of your own possible biases. Not the asshole. You didn't blow things out of proportion. You set a basic standard for guests in your home and asked them to leave if they couldn't respect it. They aren't taking their son's racism serious enough. Not the asshole. You threw a racist out of your home. Who cares if it's your nephew? Blowing things out of proportion. Not the asshole. That was straight up racism. You don't tolerate that in your house, period. Am I the asshole for ruining my SIL's night because I wouldn't speed for her movie? My brother, 35M, and I, 27F, were asked by our cousin, 18F, to help her move into her dorm for college. She did most of it on her own, but needed help for the heavier stuff. My brother and SIL, 30F, had plans that evening, and I even asked my brother beforehand if he wanted to skip helping since I could always bring a friend. He said he wanted to come. SIL asked that we be back by 6:30 because they had tickets to a movie my brother really wanted to see. The school is about 3 hours away with unavoidable construction. We left at 11, finished quickly, and were on the road by 3. Around 5:30 I took toll roads to save time. We ended up pulling in around 6:45. At 6:15, SIL had already started calling, saying I was ruining their plans and that we'd be late. I told her I was driving as fast as I safely could, but I wasn't about to risk my license for a movie. When we got back, she wasn't ready to go and wouldn't answer calls or texts. The theater is only 10 minutes away, and I offered her a ride, but she refused. She just sent my brother his ticket. He still wanted to go, so I dropped him off. When I finally got home, she was screaming like I'd ruined her life. I was exhausted and told her to get over herself and that she's 30 years old, not a 3-year-old. When I told my parents, my dad said I was borderline an AH, but my mom took my side. Am I the asshole for ruining my SIL's night because I wouldn't speed for her movie? Not the asshole. Has she seen a movie in the past decade or two? 6:30 is when the 30 minutes of previews start. If she was ready, this wouldn't have been an issue. Or if she was really worried, she'd get ready, drive herself to the theater, and you could have dropped your brother off directly there, saving a few minutes. Not the asshole. She's being ridiculous. Especially since she wasn't ready to go anyways. Not the asshole. If she really wanted to go, she would have been ready when you arrived and gone with. Why would anyone plan an event at 6:30 on a day they're making a 3 hours drive each way round trip to drop off a kid at college? It seems obvious that they should have rescheduled for the following day. Not the asshole. Not the asshole unless your sister-in-law goes to the movies to watch a half hour of previews. She and your brother didn't miss anything. If she wants to be upset, let her have a go at her husband, who insisted on going with you to help your cousin moved after you offered to have a friend come instead, because he and his wife has plans. There's so much wrong with this, it's pathetic. You're driving 3 hours, but she lives 10 minutes from the theater? Is anyone else seeing this? Get an Uber. Tell your family member who's driving 150 miles it's no big deal and to drive safely. Anyone taking her side is a piece of shit.